Hello and welcome to this edition of ShrimpNet. We're a bit slack-handed tonight because we haven't got a tame board member, but we have got, thankfully, a guest from the dressing room, and it's a welcome along to Callum Jones. Callum, welcome along. Thanks for doing this.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Um, Obviously, myself and Joel, we chat every week about how things have been going. I think the important thing to say is that we've been fairly onside, as most of the fans have, Callum, with the situation leading up to Barrow. We've had some fantastic performances and not quite got over the line and got 3 points. So as we start with Barrow, it must have been a huge relief to get that 3 points over the line, and particularly after their 6 home games were 5 wins and a draw.
Yeah, I think I spoke to BBC earlier and when we did our things, I said I think relief's probably the wrong word. I think the performances have shown where we're at. Obviously, it's a little bit of a weight off our shoulders, but we've been performing so well in 95% of the games that it's eventually got to turn for us and come, hasn't it? So I think that we was definitely delighted that we won, but it's something that we know has been so close. It's just little fine details that we haven't got over the line with so far. So yeah, I'm glad that we did at the weekend.
And like I say, the Barrow game was always going to be a tricky one. They could have gone top if they'd have beaten us, but it was one of those games where it was a classic game of two halves, and both sides, I think, found it tricky to play with the wind rather than against it.
Yeah, we decided to go with it. I think first off, obviously, as you naturally would, and yeah, it didn't really come to much great benefit. And again, when we switched second half, I feel like we was better with the wind. Possibly when you've got I mean, without the wind. Sorry, when you're playing with the wind, you can easily overhit things. So you're trying to place things shorter, and maybe it's dropping to them. Whereas you're fully committed with like longer balls in behind, and things like that, and into the wind. And you definitely couldn't at the weekend under hit a pass. So I think you was just playing with a little bit less care. Probably not the right word, but you're overhitting things and it's not getting overhit, for example. Whereas in the first half, you may be being too delicate with stuff. So I think that was the story of both halves, yeah, for us personally.
And looking at yourself, Jan coming on, and the back four, the last sort of, well, they played the last 8 minutes after we scored, and then they added 5 minutes on. And I thought we coped with that particularly well, but obviously a couple of the players looked like they were out on their feet, but they were absolutely determined. It was a really gritty last sort of 15 minutes.
You can put me in that bracket about out on our feet. I think it was difficult, really, especially when you're running forward and it's like you're getting pulled back with the wind because you're running head on into it. So it definitely does take that extra 5-10% out of your legs late on. They cut a ball across and I've slid in and it's nicked off the bottom of my studs, and all I could do is watch it and it hit the post. And I'm thinking, oh, I've deflected that and it's gone in. Otherwise, it was in Stu's hands. Whereas it nicked off me and went probably more of a difficult chance
Ah,
for Stu.
that's interesting because obviously I was in the stand at the side, and I didn't see the deflection. I thought their guy had just hit it and it hit the post, but
Yeah,
fortunately,
it's just like a soft nick off my stud. But I think if it didn't nick my stud, it would have just been straight into Stu's hands. But because it did nick, I was looking back and it felt like it was going forever and ever. And it hit the post and Hendo cleared it. And I was like, oh, thank goodness for that.
yeah, thankfully it fell to one of our chaps and we got rid of
Yeah,
it. But
yeah.
um, I take your point, what you were saying about the second half, though, because the simple fact, when you look at the chances, they had lots and lots of shots off target and two or three straight at Stewart with the wind. They seemed quite reluctant to actually put the crosses in. I think they turned in. My impression was they turned into a bit of a sort of Man City where they were trying to overplay it quite a lot with the wind, and that fell into our hands, didn't it?
Yeah, for sure. I think we was happy to frustrate them most definitely in the game. We we maybe played into Accrington's hand last week by playing. I mean, not playing at all, and they just wanted the dogfight. Whereas Barrow definitely just want it to be a game where it's quite pretty because they've got some good footballers. So I think we was compact, frustrated them, was happy to allow them to put cross into the box, knowing that they don't really have anyone in there. It's more like a pullback team, little as you say, they're the Man City type goals that they want. So we was happy for them to get wide and defend wide areas and stop crosses if we needed to and defend the ball in the box. So when everything was being played in front of us in the second half, we was more than happy to just sit in and let them enjoy the ball without really hating us. Yeah.
And you've seen the package highlights, Joel. What are your thoughts on the Barry game? Great win, obviously.
Yeah, well, fortunately, iFollow started putting the full match replays
Yeah.
back on the website now, which is very, very helpful. But to be honest, I thought we managed the win better in both halves. I don't know if playing at the Mazuma week in and week out maybe gives us a bit of practice. But yeah, I thought even with the win behind us, I thought we were probably a little bit better with the win going against the win. But I thought even with the win behind us overblowing things, I thought we still managed that first half a bit better. I don't think Barrow really got to grips with it in either half, and we did that a lot better. And kind of like you said, really, they didn't create masses of chances, even towards the end of the game where we're 1-0 up and we're hanging on for that win away from home, and Barrow are piling players forward. I thought they've stuck a few number nines on. I know it's tempting to think with a team, all we just need is a number nine, somebody who can stick it in the back of the net. They had about three of them on in the last few minutes, Barrow, but didn't really help them, and they've not really had a clear cut chance. And yeah, just kind of what you said on the shots, really. I think if you want to look at the kind of clear distinction, I can't remember I'm pretty sure we've had more touches in their box. I was looking at it after the game. We've had more touches in their box and more shots in their box than us. Now they've had more shots overall, but they've all been from out the area, and I think that just shows that how solid our shape was and how we kind of managed to keep them at arm's length really, and didn't let them get those kind of little cutbacks that they might have wanted to get, and then kind of going up the other way. We haven't created absolutely loads and loads, but the chances we have created, they're in the box. They're dangerous. Going to the second half, Dackers has been put through on goal.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then obviously the goal itself is a very big chance. It's a good little move. I thought Tollett's the way he's picked the ball in midfield kind of changed the angle of play a bit, fed it through to Callum. It's been deflected, but then Callum's managed to get a toe on it. Nice little pass out wide to Adam Lewis, and he's been so consistent with the quality of his crossing. And when you get people running into the box, you've got a big presence like Dackers, you've got Hope in there as well, and then a late runner in the box as well, and someone like Tollett, it's a dangerous weapon, and it's good to see it kind of paying dividends. And I think ultimately that was a very long overdue win. I think we've deserved it. We deserved it to come early in the season, but we are where we are now, and hopefully it can break any kind of little hoodoo or whatever, and we can crack on.
So looking at the second half, Callum, it's got to be, correct me if I'm wrong, tell me if I'm wrong here, but Marcus had the chance he created himself, nice through ball to him. He's quicker than he looks, and he managed to escape their defender. Keeper came out and just got a touch on it, which was fair enough. And then obviously a few minutes later, we had a really nice cross in again, good header down by Marcus, and Hallam stretching for it, just knocks it over the bar. As fans, we were all like, oh, we've had the two best chances in the entire game. And it starts going through your head again that this is not going to be another day when it happens. Did that happen to you, or did you always just keep the faith?
I don't think in any of the games, as you can see, the character of when we've come back in the Colchester game, when we've got 10 men, the Fleetwood game, when 2-0 down away from home, I think the character's shown enough already in the group what we can do. That doesn't really come in your mind. Maybe after the game, it's like, oh, we should have had this chance, or we should have took this, or why have not done this better? You reflect on it then, but definitely not in the game. I think you're so focused on what's needed and stuff like that. You're not thinking about, oh, it can't be like this. I think anyone who's 0-0 away from home at Barrow, you take it. We're not saying we was trying that. We come into the game most definitely thinking that we could hit them with all their nice play, that we could get off the back of their midfield runners, as you say, their Dackers in behind and things we worked on, playing outside of their three centre-halves. And as we say there, we had the two better chances in the game. So as the game's coming, we know we've got good players, and we know at any given moment that we can create something. So I think we was just waiting for something to happen. And thankfully, obviously, as I say there, Tolls has put it into the back of the net off a great ball by Adam.
Yeah, you're looking at it now. We're 2 months into the season, and it seems And I've got a friend who he's up at it's Les Taylor actually, who's up in the higher echelons of the prawn sandwich brigade, and he's been saying for weeks you can play David Chitonda and you can play an Adam Lewis in front of him because he's so good going forward, Adam. And I think slowly but surely we're learning that he sticks it in areas which is absolutely almost impossible to defend. And now we're starting to reap that benefit of because he's been playing now for 2 months. You're starting to realise, well, if he sticks this where I think it is, people like Tollett and Hope and Dackers and the runners like yourself from the field, you know you're going to get on the end of it because he's got such quality, hasn't he?
Yeah, sometimes I tell him to give me a second because it's sometimes one of them balls where it looks that good, but no one can get on the end of it because it's that good. You know, for example, off wide free kicks, he's whipping it into an area where if you go any earlier as an attacker, you're going to be offside.
Yeah.
So you're throwing everything at it, but it's just flying across the box. But as you say there now, I think the timings and everything of people in the box and his delivery. Obviously, you need bodies in the box and the balls getting slung in with such quality. I wouldn't say slung in, I'd probably say caressed in with such quality. You know what I mean? So I think we're definitely finding each other's positive attributes and trying to work as a team much better. Obviously, we're a new group, a total new group, which is something I've never worked in before. Been a new player, but obviously there's always foundations usually as a group. So I'm positive that things turn for us and more goals are scored because, as we say, some of the play that we've had in the past few weeks and we've just lacked that final bit of know-how to win the game or a little cutting edge of quality from me included and the whole team. I'm thinking that it's starting to come now, definitely, because I see it every day in training.
Yeah, I was gonna say, obviously, you're now getting familiar with each other, and it's starting to reap the benefits. The only downside is obviously that we've suffered quite a lot of injuries. Obviously, George Ray, sadly, in the first game, but obviously since then we've just had a steady stream of people on the treatment table, which affects it. But then again, it gives other people the chance, and other people have taken the chances, haven't they?
Yeah, that's why you need a squad, isn't it? Really, you need a good competitive squad because obviously teams can have a few injuries and that could be them then. That could be them off the boil because they're missing key players, whereas we're missing big players and we've got a squad that can fulfill and we'll be much better when lads come back for sure because we'll be more depth, but we'll have more depth, shall I say. But it's healthy competition again, isn't it, as well, which is what you need in a dressing room. So at the minute, whoever the gaffer puts out, I think's ready. The intensity that we play and train at is really high. So obviously, as I say, everyone's ready to just step in and do a job when they need to for the team. Yeah, definitely.
And Joel, something that occurred to me while I was actually stood there in the away seats was I've never seen Derek so animated at the end of a game. He was there holding hands with the players and celebrating with the fans and etc. And I think he looked bloody calm at Wembley. It's bizarre, isn't it? What do you make of that, Joel? He was like new man.
Yeah, I remember seeing a few clips on social media just after the game, and then, well, obviously I've seen the kind of the players kind of doing the linking up arms and going in front of the away fans, and then seeing it from a couple of other angles, and it's actually Derek leading it, which isn't usually his style, but I think I think it might just be a testament to the what he thinks of the performances of. Well, because he said it he said it plenty of times in interviews. He's been really happy with the overall performance level, yeah, barring Accrington, obviously. But he said
Yeah.
he's been obviously been really happy with it, and rightly so. It's been really good, but maybe it's a bit of like, you know, just satisfaction that finally him and the group of players have finally managed to get what they deserve for their performances. I mean, I look at our form in recent weeks, and it's one defeat. I know that a lot of them are draws, but it's one defeat in 6 7 games. We've matched Notts County. We kind of won against Notts County, with the ball
For
going all over
sure,
the line. And we should have beaten Bradford City. We should have. Oh, before the red card against Colchester, we looked like we were on top against them. I'd say Fleetwood was the only time the teams really, really looked like pacing us a little bit. But then we've come back in the second half, and they've gone and put six past Walsall in about a week or two later. So they've obviously got a great attacking unit. So we've looked a really good competitive side, and just the way things have gone, we haven't got those wins. But now I imagine for Derek, it must have been such a relief to finally get the rewards that him and the team deserve.
So I'll come back to you, Callum. What was the dressing room like after the game?
Yeah, well, obviously we was all delighted. We was really happy. As I say, it's something that we've definitely deserved. So it's been hard coming in for some weeks, and the gaffer and Danny and all the coaches have been having to pick us back up because we've been on top for a lot of games. I'd just say they were unbeaten in 6 or 7. Obviously, minus the Accrington. So I just think that it's just we say that there's no better feeling as a footballer, honestly. There's no better feeling than a win. But that first win, obviously, after everything that's happened, was even more, I wouldn't say it just tasted a little bit better, do you know what I mean? Because it felt like we've been so close, and just to finally get over the line without anything going against us was just exactly what me and all the lads have wanted. So yeah, we was all chuffed.
Yeah, it makes a change from dodgy penalties and silly sendings off, doesn't it? Really, because we've had our fair share of them already. And also, I'll say we've also had 3 different letters from the Refs Association apologising for crap decisions.
Yeah,
so
honestly,
which is like we deserve 3 points for them, don't we? Really, but it was very, very, very satisfying, I think, from a fan's point of view, because I thought it was. Given the conditions, it was pretty much a complete performance. There wasn't really anybody who didn't do the job, but I do sort of signal out the back four and yourself and Jan when he came on, because there was the determination there that has been there in all of the games, but just for a change. Obviously, we've had a situation where we've been chasing games and got back into it, but like the Bradford game and the Notts County game, we did enough to win those and conceded late, and it was quite disappointing. But when you look at it in plain terms now, Joel, it was a great time to get your first win, but so satisfying it was being at Barrow, who at the time were third and we're rock bottom. And they're much fancied, and they did look a decent side. They knocked it about really, really nicely. Yeah. But we stunted everything that they did on the day, which was really satisfying. First clean sheet since March.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
I think as well, like it feels quite. I know most teams say this about themselves, or it's typical, whatever. But like, I do feel like it's quite on brand for us to have this, win this streak, and then finally get the first win against a team that has the best home record in the division, is currently unbeaten so far in the league. I feel like it's quite on brand for it's some good Morecambe FC shenanigans, really. So yeah, just a big relief, and it must have been nice for Callum and everybody to go back in the dressing room. I think you touched on it before, Freeze, not feeling like you need to pick, find reasons to. Well, obviously, look, there's been a lot to be positive about in recent games, but you're not having to kind of pick yourselves up despite the result. You can just go in and enjoy the result. You don't have to, be like, oh well, we drew, but we did this right. We can just say, you can just be happy that you won, and I imagine that's just such a better feeling than having to come in with the frustration of what's happened in recent weeks.
Yeah, because when we go through things when we go through what was good, what we could have been better, the positives most weeks outweighing the negatives, and that's probably the relief that when we go through the game, tomorrow maybe it'll be for last weekend, that it'll be the positives, but it's actually led to something as well where you say your Notts County one where we've controlled their best players, we've man-marked them. In the Bradford game, we've nullified all their threat in Cook, and they've had to change things. And we probably could have been 3-4-0 up in the first half. That's probably the thing that we've been missing, is just like the know-how. Whereas at the weekend, I think we was a bit more time. We took the time. We let their fans get onto them. We we believed that our fans was right behind us from the start. I said today in the interview that when we was doing our last little bit of the warm up before we go in to get stripped to come out, I say the noise from the fans, because we was in that corner, wasn't we, warming up? So the noise from the fans was incredible, and I couldn't hear Whitey shouting next to me in the game, but when I was next to the fans, it was just a roar, and it was a bit of a goosebump moment. Like, come on, this is the time. We just felt like everything needed to click, and thankfully it did. Yeah.
I guess as well, like when you're coming off those games, and is it almost more frustrating than obviously when you play badly and you lose, it's frustrating, but is it almost kind of more frustrating when you know you've done loads and loads of good stuff right, but then it still, for whatever reason, hasn't managed to pan out as a win?
Yeah, well, there's no pictures on the scorecard, is there, as the old saying is, but you look at the Newport game and the amount of top class saves their keepers made. I don't think they stepped out of their own half in the second half until about 85th minute. We penned them in for the half. We created numerous chances and we just couldn't get the ball over the line. And we've done that against Bradford again. We penned them in. We nullified them, as I said, and against Notts County, obviously the ball is so far over the line, it's untrue. But that's probably the nice side of things. Do you know what I mean? That it's finally turned, and as I say, I'm hoping now that we can just continue to do the positive form.
Just to quickly
So,
go on that,
sorry, go on.
sorry, yeah, sorry to go over frustrating things, but just to go over that the Notts County, what it's really weird watching it back on camera, but from what I can tell from like the fact that yourself and apparently the Notts County players have all admitted that it went over, is it like it's gotten a bit of backspin when it's deflected off the keeper and it's gone over and then kind of bobbled back out a bit? Is that what's happened?
I think the keeper must have blocked the view, because I know I said to the referee, I says, where's that decision come from? Like, who said that wasn't a goal? And he said the linesman. So I said to the linesman after the game, how can you call that from that far away? And the linesman said, I couldn't see the full ball. And I said to him, well, how have you made that call then? If you can't see the full ball, you can't just say it's not in just because you can't see the ball.
No.
So that was the frustration. And I obviously played with Dan Crowley at Hull. So I said to Dan, like, was that in? And he said, yeah, the lads had said that was in. Like, most definitely. We don't know how the ref seen it. So that just adds fuel to the fire and frustration of that's when you know it's not your day. You know what I mean? And that's what we've had for so many decisions this season already. So hopefully there's no more of them to come. We've had our fair share for the season already.
I want to go back to your the Newport game and your free kick, which everybody in the stadium thought was in, but Nick Townsend, somebody clawed it for a corner, didn't he?
I know it could have been one of the goals of my season already. That one, I was happy to not score again there after that one. But yeah, he did, honestly. To be fair to him, he pulled off numerous good saves, didn't he? And I just thought the momentum shift, and I think I was quite a lot far out compared to where I'd usually take them from or where I'd usually shoot from. And when I've hit it, I thought to myself, I couldn't have hit that much better. And you see me like moving past the wall to see if it's going in, and he springs up and pulls a great save off, doesn't he? So as I say, fair play to him.
Yeah, I think you're due a free kick goal as well. I think with your previous free kick goal that you scored for us, I think it's unfortunately been a bit drowned out by Cole Stockton a bit later
For
in the game.
sure, yeah. Listen, that was one of the best memories I've had that in football. Just the feeling of a win. That was definitely up there as in the derby. We were so comfortable in that game as well. Scored so early on, and when they scored late, the celebration down to the fans, it'll always stick with me. And Cole is obviously one of my best friends that was at the club, and obviously I still keep in contact with him. So I think the moment that we all shared as a group was special, to be honest. Yeah, so that was probably one of my favourite moments, actually.
That leads nicely into obviously chatting a little bit about yourself. This is your second spell. When you signed again, did you walk in the dressing room and think, Jesus, there's nobody here. I don't know anybody.
Yeah, well, I thought there's nobody here because we didn't have any players.
Well, apart from anything else, yeah.
No, of course there was players in the building. There was a lot going on at the time, wasn't there? The gaffer was obviously trying to find out what he wants, and obviously he's building a really good squad. I don't know if you agree, but I obviously see it every day. So I think the players that he's brought in is quality. Everyone's humble, everyone gets on, and it's not often that you see that everyone's fighting for the same thing, and there's no real animosity between the group. It's all just like real hard workers, which see I really enjoy coming from that sort of family. So when I've come in and I've seen what the pre-season's like on the famous Derek Adams track days. It's absolutely brutal, but obviously that's what's brought us to where we are now, late in the games, being able to still go. And I've never felt so fit in my life doing the amount of distance you're doing Saturday, Tuesday, and being able to maintain their levels is definitely from what the gaffers just set as a baseline in the pre-season, yeah, for sure.
Jamie Stott was very kind when he came on and let us into his exact. I think his exact sentence was something like, "I never want to go through that again." I went, "What if you get another contract?" And he went, "Well, I suppose I'll have to."
No, for sure, yeah. That was definitely. I think we'd had our baby Delilah. We had her on the Sunday. Oh God, I lie. We had her on the Saturday evening at 10 past 10, and obviously we was in on the Monday. I'd had everything done on the Thursday. I think everything was signed, obviously not announced. And I'd said to the gaffer, listen, like the missus is ready to pop anytime. So we've gone in to the hospital, stayed Friday night, maybe Thursday night, Friday night. We've had the baby late Saturday. So obviously there's no sleep Saturday evening. We was in there till Sunday evening. So I texted the gaffer, like, oh, gaffer, like, I've just had the baby. And he sent me a full track session to do on my own, honestly. And it was like, what was it, maybe 8K, 9K, something that the lads had been doing. And the missus's mum, we'd come to stay there, and she couldn't get work off till Thursday. So obviously the missus had a C-section, she couldn't be on her own, so I had to stay till Thursday, and he sent me a session Tuesday, which was exactly similar. And it was Wednesday off, and I was in Thursday for my first track session. And all the lads are like, well, you've got away one, haven't you? And I thought, I haven't. I've had a baby on the Saturday night, and I've done both sessions off the gaffer Monday, Tuesday. So it was relentless, but obviously that's how I'm feeling good because of that stuff, which obviously it's all down to the gaffer.
Well, congratulations, and
Thank you, mate.
welcome to the world, baby Delilah. It's nice to know that your dad was there for some of it anyway, but he's fitter than he's ever been.
Yeah, for sure. Exactly.
Joel, you'll have some questions for Callum.
Yeah, I think just speaking generally, it's quite nice, kind of having seen you come to the club the first time, seeing a little bit about what you are, a little bit about what you are as a player, and then you go away for a few years, you develop a bit more, and then seeing you come back as probably a bit more, a bit more of a finished product. Obviously, with the first loan spell, it's always going to be a bit of a tricky one. But what would you say is kind of changed between you then and now?
Well, I'd like to hope my ability was always there. I think when you go on a loan, it is literally what you just said, to just develop. So that first loan, maybe I was probably premature in where I am now. I was a little bit immature, maybe. I didn't understand the game as much. I've come from obviously playing for Hull's first team, Hull's 23s, to where it's all really nice. You go into big grounds, everything's done for you. What was I at the time? 19. I'm playing in League One, and I get slapped, put on a bench in the first game of the season after being promised the world, kind of maybe thinking that everything's going to be smooth sailing. You go to Ipswich away, first game of the season, and you sat on the bench and you're thinking, oh, what's going on here? And I had to wait a while to get into the team, to be honest. But when you see the players that was playing in front of me, you've got obviously Adam Phillips, who's doing well now. You've got Toombs, who had a great career.
Yeah.
I was probably, in my mind, a bit more, as I say, yeah, probably immature. Didn't understand the game as much. Whereas I've come now and I've learned. I've played a lot more men's football, league football, Champ, League One, League Two. So I think I'm a bit more of a finished article without being finished, of course, because I've got a lot more development to do. That's why I'm here. Otherwise, I'd be playing in the Premier League if I was finished. But yeah, I definitely do think I understand the game a lot more, and what it means to the fans, what it means to the lads down here, and stuff like that. I definitely do feel that's what's probably improved in myself, my mentality.
No, I think like you say, I think we see your free kick against Fleetwood and some of your passing. You see the abilities there. It's just about, like you say, I think finding your way in the game and understanding things. I guess speaking to a few other youth players, I think a lot of it is tempo as well, like the way that kind of people snap into you, and the kind of different amounts of time you get on the ball.
Yeah, for sure. It really sounds weird, but the higher up you play, the more comfortable and easy it is, which sounds obviously odd because I've had a couple of my best games. For example, with Hull, we played in the Carabao Cup in West Ham's new stadium. We got beat 4-1, but I think I got man of the match. And the amount of time you get when you're off the ball, the difference is that transition period. You've give the ball away on the edge of their box, and next minute it's in your goal, and you're thinking, how quick? I have not even turned around, and he's gone up 60 yards and scored.
Yeah,
I think that's probably the difference. It's more end to end. League Two, League One, most of League One, it's more end to end. There's more things going on. It's not less organised, but it's more frantic. Whereas it's a bit more patient higher up you are. So I think that's the biggest difficulty when you first come. It's probably you're trying to slow things down, or you're doing things a little bit slower, but you just get the ball took off you. People are more physical. People want it more. As I say, it's their lives. The big boys are on massive money, so that maybe the foreign lads who come over don't care and understand as much in the top end. Whereas like you come to Morecambe, it's people's livelihood. It's people are paying for their mortgage. They want that bonus because that's going to pay their whatever this month. Whereas when you're playing with big money players, it's like especially if they're foreign, I think that's the biggest difference. That feels like there's more on the line.
I think kind of like you said there as well, like with the intensity, I think it's always quite interesting. Like if I ever go down and like watch some non-league football occasionally, like go down to a local club, I find it fascinating how much, even like compared to League Two, like people are just furiously running around everywhere, and I think it looks intense, but at the same time you don't have that. It's not quite as precise in transitions. I think even comparing us playing in League Two now to when we played in League One, you play like some of your Ipswiches. I remember the real danger is like you lose the ball in midfield or a bit up the pitch, and it's the way that teams can kind of hurt you and slice through you really quickly, isn't it?
It definitely is. I'll always remember a stat that the goalkeeper coach, when the year Hull won League One, we was in League One, of course. So the stat was in the Premier League, it's like 1 in every 1.8 chances are scored. In the Championship, it's like 1 in every 2.5. And then it drops dramatically. It's like 1 in every 5 in League One and 1 in every 7 in League Two. And that'll always stick with me. And I always thought, wow, 1 in every 1.5 chances get scored. Like no one misses really. Do you know, when you go through, and 1 in every 7. And you look sometimes at the amount of chances we create and you think, have we not scored? The keeper might pull off a worldie or whatever. And that makes sense. But I definitely think from the first time of coming in League One to where we are now in League Two, I don't think there's much difference. And I think every year the leagues get more competitive, more money gets thrown in, better players all over the Football League. So I definitely think the standard is still very good in League Two, which for sure.
Yeah, I know. I think thinking back to like a decade ago, watching Morecambe, and it's just grown so much. But in terms of yourself, so coming through the kind of loan spells that you've had, is there been, apart from just also just kind of generally acclimatizing to men's football at this level, is there anything in particular you thought, oh, this is something I really need to look out for. This is something I really need to work on.
What, as a player?
Yeah, or just anything really.
Yeah. So when I was first come to Morecambe, I think as a lot of my stuff was maybe one touch. So I'm trying to, as the ball's trying to come in, I'm trying to like look for someone to pass that to first time. But if I give the ball away there, then our goal's under threat straight away. So you can be clever. I think obviously I'd like to say I'm a bit of an intelligent player. I like to think I scan a lot. I like to move the ball quickly, one touch, because we can get up the pitch quicker. We can create chances. First time people aren't set and stuff like that. But when I first come, I was maybe taking one touch edge of the box, giving the ball away, and then creating a chance, and it's putting our defence under pressure. Whereas now, if the ball comes into me, it might be a little flick around the corner into the front man, or it might be I might take a touch, use my body, fall, win a foul. Just like the know-how of the game, what you can and can't get away with. Taking less risks in the defensive third and obviously the attacking third and all things like that. I think that's probably the biggest learning curve that I've had, is when to take risks, when not to, but also don't lose myself in. I don't want to be playing 2-3 touches and get the ball took off me. I still want to be able to play 1 and 2 touch, but I need to know the right, and well, I used to need to know the right times, and you've got to earn the manager's trust by, or when when we're playing him and he gives us when we give him the ball, something's going to happen. He's not going to give the ball away. He might not give them a chance, but we know that if we give them a ball 10 times, 2 or 3 times, he's going to create something for us. Whereas if we give him the ball 2 or 3 times, he might give the ball away. You don't want them thinking that. You want them to be able to trust you in the fact you're going to create something positive rather than negative to the team. So I think that's probably what I learned the most.
No, definitely really interested in that. And kind of in terms of, I always think this is interesting to ask centre midfielders because it's one of those positions where I think there are lots of different nuances to what kind of centre midfielder you are, and it's often like the source of a lot of debate and discussion when people talk about football. But from how you kind of view yourself, do you view yourself as a particular kind of centre midfielder, like more of a deep liner one or more of an attacking one, or do you just kind of see yourself as somebody who's quite versatile and you don't really like to box yourself into a particular role?
Oh, it'd be interesting to see what you two think first. Where would you put me both?
Oh, I like this. It's a good question.
Yeah, good question.
I don't know.
Go on, you go first.
Probably a bit more.
Hey,
Like,
we need honesty here as well.
yeah, go on. Yeah, probably a bit more. Probably 6/8, kind of a bit more deeper line. You can kind of pull the strings a little bit, and kind of find those passes from your own third and around the halfway line into the final third. But while picking out people like Ben Toll, I think the goal,
Colchester.
yeah, the Colchester goal was a really good example, kind of being a little bit deeper.
Outside of your right foot, wasn't it, Callum?
Yeah, into him, yeah.
And
Yeah,
then,
it was a great ball.
but I think I think one of the things that I've seen from you the scenes is there's a lot of energy and there's a lot of driving around and scrapping and some really hefty slide tackles and making sure we're getting the ball back and stuff. So I'd say probably more on the deeper lying side, but also in quite a creative way and someone you can kind of move the ball up the pitch from there.
Yeah, I would completely agree with that. In the fact that I think it was there was a couple of games at home, particularly the Bradford game, where I thought you were absolutely bloody immense, Callum. And I'm not just saying that. And I'm not saying that because you're on. I was saying it. My mates will back me up. I turned around and I said, Callum Jones has been bloody everywhere tonight. He's been fantastic, and that's the seed change that we didn't see when you came to us the first time when we're in League One. Possibly because Derek's got a little bit better suited setup for you. And also, obviously, like you said at the time, you've got Toombs and Adam Phillips and everybody else at the time. But looking at it from your personal development, you have definitely come back to us a better player than when you came to us the first time. That's what I'll say.
Yeah, I think you've got to improve, haven't you, as you go on. Otherwise, you're just going to fall down the ladder. I think me and my dad work tirelessly going through games. Honestly, he may as well work for the club as an analyst, a personal analyst for me. Yeah, we go through. He sends me bits that I can improve on quicker. He always used to have a saying that he player cams me. So obviously the manager's got 11 players to watch. So the manager isn't going to pick up on something as quick as my dad can. And his football knowledge, obviously my football knowledge comes from him because of how much he understands the game. It's untrue. He sees things to help me and just try and keep me that little step ahead so we can always keep climbing the hill instead of falling down it. So yeah, I definitely do. I do think that, but I also agree. I think probably prefer if we're playing a 2 and a 1 as a 2 deep liar. I'd like to be the 6, but I want to be the 6 who can be the 8, who can get forward and join in the attacks. I don't want to be the 6 who's the one who has to get the ball and stay under the ball and maybe be a bit of a cage dog. I always used to say to my agent when I was here last time, I think I used to just play as a single 6 and I was a bit of a cage dog. Like I wanted to jump and get forward and tackle and get in people's faces and take the ball off people and stuff like that. But I felt like I couldn't. I had to be more disciplined. Whereas now I'm a bit more mature. I think you could get me to be that disciplined player if you needed me to be. I wouldn't mind doing it, but I definitely want to be a bit more on the front foot, which Derek wants. I think he kind of says he gives me a free roll most of the time, most weeks, that if I want to join in, I can, and don't want to drop down and get the ball, I can, and I know someone's always there to protect me. So I'd say it's definitely a 6/8 role where I can play under the ball, but then I can break the box as well. He encourages me that all of the time.
So the Barrow game, you'll have been happy to see Whitey next year because he's more the sitter, isn't he?
Well, to be honest, in the Barrow game, we started as Paul and Whitey and me in front, and
Mm.
he just wanted me to just try and get around their sitter, Campbell. And to be fair, he had a few good early touches. Like it was difficult to get around him. And then when we changed, and obviously lucky Paul went off, Callum coming to a two with Dackers, and it was me and Whitey. And I think for me that's more natural. That I can jump from deep into someone's face rather than kind of
Yeah.
being and around them. So I can join the attack, and I like coming onto things, stepping onto things rather than facing away from the game and things. So I think that definitely suited me more, yeah, where there's someone who I know will be disciplined. And if I break the box, I don't want to be looking back thinking, oh, are we all right defensively? I want to know that they're going to see me going and they're just going to cover me nicely, yeah. So, and I'll always try and get back for them.
I think with Derek as well, I think you touched on it before. I think what we've kind of found spoken to people who play under him is he like if he's got a midfielder, he's got a bit of talent on the ball who can make things happen with the passing or the through balls or whatever. I think we kind of feel like he likes them to have some kind of freedom to do
Yeah.
what they need to do to create chances.
Yeah, no, he definitely does. He encourages me every day in training that he's always shouting, "Calm, go and get the ball, drop in and get the ball, shoot. Why have you not shot?" But I really enjoy him as a manager. I think that he's definitely developed me as a player. As I say, he definitely has physically. Anyway, he's developed me heart because and me running ability, maybe I should say. But it's important in this game now, isn't it, that you can run? So he's always positive with me, encourages me, but obviously he tells me when I need to improve or when I haven't been good enough. He wanted to change the system, for example, against Fleetwood, and he brought me off, and it's worked. So I can't have any complaints. But then he puts me in for 90 the next game. So I think his man management's really good, and he definitely encourages me to be confident and positive and show everyone what I can do.
Yeah, you didn't take it personally at Fleetwood because he did take four off, didn't he? So
No, for sure. Yeah, I think maybe it come as a bit of a shock, but we'd been penned in. Things need to change. You're 2-0 down from Sky. I was hoping though I can stay on as when we were getting beat 3-1 to Colchester. I feel like I'm that player who wants to try and pick up the baton and be like, I'll try and drag us through this. 10 men, 9 men. I try and want to be that person who can drag everyone along and be positive. I don't want to be a sunken ship. So for me to come off 2-0 down, obviously I was delighted when we was 2-0 because it never looks as bad when you draw. If we get beat 4-0, it's like you have come off because it was your fault, kind of. Do you know what I mean? But when you draw 2-0, you're relieved. But I want to be the one to always make sure that the gaffer's like, I'm going to keep him on because he might create something or he's the one who's going to drive us forward in the games. And I try and make sure that I'm doing that. Yeah, definitely.
So looking forward to the final thing we'll chat about. We're looking forward to Saturday. MK Dons. You're probably familiar now with our record against MK Dons. Thankfully, Charlie Brown gave us a 2-1 win down at the MK, and that was it was an unusual result, that, Joel, shall we say, because they've been our bogey team. We tend to get them in every cup competition, and I don't know what it is about MK, but obviously they've lost the manager. He's gone to Carlisle because he'd come from Gateshead and he wanted to move back north. We're hoping that we can continue. Well, or shall we start to change the hoodoo, Joel, aren't we?
Yeah, I mean, they're an interesting side to be playing at the moment, MK, because some of the summer business has looked really, really strong on paper. Mike
Yeah.
Williamson, he's a really highly rated manager. I remember bumping into JJ last year and having a chat with him. It was just after we played MK Dons at home, and he was like basically saying how highly he rated him when he was at Gateshead as well in the National League. So he's a really highly rated manager, but they've just not started the season particularly well. I mean, it seems like they've been a bit unlucky. I think they've missed the fifth most big chances in the league apparently. So maybe it is a bit of a scoring drought, but at the same time, obviously things haven't clicked as well this season as they did last season. And obviously Williamson's gone off to Carlisle now, and they've brought in Scott Lindsay, who from what we saw last season, is a really excellent manager, and
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
he's been reunited with a lot of players he had at Crawley, because obviously a lot of the recruiting that MK did over summer was from Crawley. So yeah, but he's only been there what, week and a half, 2 weeks. It's to us, it's a bit too early to really say what kind of animal they're going to be when they turn up this weekend. But ultimately, I feel like a bit of a broken record when I say this, but I'm really back us at home pretty much, every week. I don't think this season in League Two it's quite like last season. You haven't got teams who've got quite. You've got definitely some teams that are pretty well off. Don't get me wrong, but you've not quite got those those financial
Wrexham and
heavyweights.
Stockport.
Yeah, Wrexham, Stockport, and not quite got that disparity this season. I remember,
Yeah.
And I look back at all our home games this season, and I think we played really well in all of them, to be honest. And I think last couple as well.
For sure, yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
Bradford and Notts County, they're two really good teams. Bradford have won a few on the bounce afterwards. Notts County, we know the quality that they've got.
Yeah.
And we matched them and we bettered them in a lot of areas. So yeah, I just have quite a lot of confidence in us at home, and hopefully we can take that now that hoodoo's been broken, we can kind of take that, link it up with the performances, and hopefully get another 3 points.
And what's the feeling in the dressing room? Are we keen to continue the winning run? It would be nice to get another win and start climbing the table, Callum. Obviously.
Yeah, well, I don't think anyone sets out to lose, so I'd like to hope everyone's thinking in the winning way. But honestly, no one would probably believe, even when we were losing, the positivity in the group has honestly been the whole season. Obviously, we've been deflated after games, but we come in on the Monday and we go through it. You see where you've been, the chances we could have had, and it kind of like re-energizes you when it's refreshing. You go home and it ruins your Saturday night. You don't want to speak to the missus for the night, and she gets it in the neck. And the Sunday's probably the same. When you go in, you go through it, and as I say, it's all good. But the spirits are good. We've come 2 wins now. We've Tuesday night, no matter who it was against, and Saturday as well. So the group's feeling good and positive, and I'm sure that, well, I'm hoping that it can be another positive result, because we've been good at home this season, as we said.
Well, here's hoping. Before we finish off, I've got a couple of lightweight questions, which I always ask. Who do you travel in with?
Hallam Ho, David Tutonda, and Guion Edwards.
Right, that's good. That's good. So, who's out of you four? Who's the gobby one and who's the quiet one?
I'm probably the gobby one, and Hallam's probably the quiet one.
Okay. And secondly, are you one of these? I get all my info. I get my inside info off Nicky in the office. Are you one who takes your own pool queue, or are you just in the pool team?
Yeah, I'm in the pool queue. Yeah, I got my own pool queue. It's become a common thing now.
Who was it who had a brand new pool cue delivered at the club? I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, that would have been me, that one. To be fair, there's been about 4 of us.
I think they have started a pool team, so there you need to get yourself in that. You could have a second career.
I know we it's just like an ongoing thing. It keeps the positivity as well and the togetherness, doesn't it? We have a little monthly league going, and it's a doubles thing, and the losers pay for dinner for the others, so it can be an expensive bill.
So go on then. Who's top?
So last month the losers was Harry and Ross, and me, Tolls. It's Reese and Tolls, and me and Adam Lewis. There's the pairs.
All right.
Yeah, so they paid for dinner.
So what was that? What was that then? Where did you go?
No, we haven't. It's only just been, hasn't it? So we're trying to arrange it when we haven't got so many fixtures. We've obviously had Tuesday games. We've got Tuesday next week, so we'll do them at some point. Don't you worry.
So are you going to pick somewhere expensive?
I don't know. We'll see how we feel. Maybe might have to see how many wins we get.
Not a Weatherspoons.
No, not a Weatherspoons. No, maybe not.
Well, listen, thanks for coming on. It's been an absolute pleasure. I hope your daughter and your missus are doing well.
Thank you very much.
It's always lovely when you get a new addition, because it's obviously, there's, as we've seen this week with George Baldock, there's far more important things in life than bloody football. I know it's
For
your
sure.
career, but
Sure.
it's horrible what's happened to him. And, it's just life affirming when, I've got 4 kids. I know how magical they are. And you've got some fun and games to come because you're outnumbered in the house now.
I know, for sure, yeah, for sure. 2-on-1.
Enjoy every minute of it, and obviously play like you've been doing. Carry it on Saturday against MK Dons. Free kicks from 25, 30 yards. You're on them.
Anything.
Sooner or later, one will fly in. You will not get a keeper like Nick Townsend every bloody week.
No, I hope not anyway. I'll take any goal. Doesn't have to be free
exactly.
Kick, I'll take anything.
Yeah, I know. And after Jamie Stotts against Notts County, I think he'd take any as well, wouldn't he?
Yeah, we're out. He's owed one.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Thanks for listening, everybody. Thanks for watching if you're on YouTube. Thanks to Joel.
Sorry, Freeze, to interrupt the very elegantly put outro. I've just got to do a little quick trust update.
Oh, go on.
Sorry, not too much this week. Just re-advertising business membership. It's £250 for the year. We've had a couple of people sign up so far, which is positive. So please do get in touch on the hello@Shrimp Trust email if you're interested. Just announced today that we're sponsoring a player from the women's team, Chloe Howarth. So it's good to be getting involved with that. And just finally as well, the coach to Wimbledon, it's actually sold really quite well, which is really, really pleasing because it's a long way on a Tuesday night. So it's good to know that there's been a good bit of uptake on that. And at the time of recording, there are 3 spaces left, but obviously that could change quite quickly. So do get in touch to see if there's anything left on that. But yeah, sorry to interrupt the nice outro for it.
You're all right. It's fine. I desperately wanted to go to Wimbledon because I've been to the old Plough Lane and I've been to Kings Meadow, obviously, when we played Kingstonian at the conference, but also when we played Wimbledon. And I was desperate to go. So me being the person that I am, I sat down with my missus and she said, yeah, you can get yourself there, go. And I was like, brilliant, So then Pat rang me and said, oh, do you fancy driving the minibus? And I said, yeah, I can drive the minibus, but I'll just confirm it. Went back to my missus, got a phone call off the daughter. It's half term. We've got three gang kids from 7:30 in the morning till 6 o'clock.
Oh, no. All the best. Good luck. Well, lads, I'll be there anyway, so.
That's a relief.
10, 7 and 4.
Oh,
10,
no.
7 and 4. I'll be knackered by 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I won't be able to go bloody anywhere.
No way. No way.
So anyway, there you go. So yeah, my outro was very, very kindly cut short by Joel, quite rightly, getting on with Trust business. Join us next week when hopefully we're reviewing another great performance against MK Dons, and looking forward to Chesterfield live on Sky. Thanks for watching.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.